And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantic.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Echo down to nominal.
Fighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
25! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well, welcome back to Starbase, everybody. Guess what? It's Ship 37. It's testing again. We were waiting for the Orbital Launch Mount vent to go monkeys, like it is right now, to go live because we get a good idea that they're proceeding towards the testing. If we'd gone live a bit before that, we could have been here for hours waiting for that to happen. So we're out there, and that's why we've gone live. It's looking pretty good. And joining me on this one, we've got Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Chris. How's it going, everyone?
We're also joined, you lucky people, by Jack. Hello, Jack.
How's it going? A lovely day here in Starbase for some testing.
And I never thanked the producer, so I'm making a point of doing it every single time now. Well, we've got Carson producing in the background, so pressing all the buttons and making sure you got all the screens looking at what we're looking at right now, which is the Flight 10 vehicle, Ship 37, in its weird, but we're getting used to it, configuration of sat on the Orbital Launch Mount, with its star stool, as I call it. And I did coin that phrase, and I kind of regretting it now because some people are kind of making it fun of it, but it's fine. It is the modifications to Pad 1 to allow for testing in this configuration because Massey's can't do this. It's unfortunate what happened with Ship 36. They can't do static fire tests, and in this case, might be a static fire test, but we think it's a spin prime test. Alex, let's cover this. We had a poll in Starbase Live. And we're asking people, do you think it's a static fire or a spin prime? And static fire was winning the poll, but I think it's a spin prime. What do you think it's going to be?
Well, there are different sort of arguments for and against each one, of course. I am more of the side that it's probably going to be a spin prime for mainly one reason, which is we have not seen the deluge tank farm being refilled with water after all of the testing that they did with 37. I think it was like a week and a half ago. Time flies, I guess, except 37 so far. But yeah, so that's one of the main indicators that sort of makes me think that perhaps we're not going to see a static fire test. There is also, during transportation of the ship, we also look up, Jack putting the camera up into the skirt of the ship, and we were able to not see, I guess, these sort of stiffener rings that they put around the Raptor vacuums to fire them at sea level. So without those, they would not be able to fire the Raptor vacuums. Now, there's also the potential that they may have installed that after the transportation, right? So like they have had the dance floor out there on the pad, and they have had access to the ship pretty much for about a day and a half since they moved it here. So in theory, that could have happened, right? But yeah, given the deluge thing, there's also, I guess you could say, past experience of what has happened in previous occasions where, for example, if you remember Ship 35, they did multiple attempts at static fires and whatnot because they kept having problems. But once they had the successful, full 6-engine static fire test, they did found an issue with one of the engines, or at least we speculate that they probably encountered some issue, and they changed at least one engine on 35. And when they did that engine change, they put out the ship on the test stand at Massey's, but they did not do a static fire. What they did was a spin prime of all 6 engines. And so that could be something that might happen today as well, where since it's one engine only that they changed, maybe what they do is just go ahead and do a spin prime. So again, there's multiple factors here to that sort of point that maybe today might be a spin prime. But hey, look, if it's a static fire, sure, go ahead. I want to see some fire in the right location, I guess. I will not complain if it is a static fire.
Jack, what do you think it's going to be? Spin prime or static fire test?
Yeah, I think Alex is right. I guess it would be more interesting conversationally if I was like, Alex is wrong. It's definitely going to be a spin. But we don't know. Like, what SpaceX doesn't tell us. But given the signs that we've seen, yeah, and the history, the stuff that we've seen them do at Massey's after engine swaps, after static fire tests. So a spin prime seems like it's potentially going to be in the offing. And yeah, you can see there that shot where I cranked up the exposure so you could see into the aft section there. No stiffeners on those RVACs. Now, could that be because they realized, hey, maybe those stiffeners are not good to have on during transport for insert reason? Maybe, and like Alex said, maybe they installed them at the pad, and maybe they do a 6-engine static fire today. But that was curious for sure. I'm gonna go with spin prime. But SpaceX has a way of surprising us, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Let's not forget Booster 7. There was a spin prime test, but it ended up being a bit of a static fire test. We all remember the hose, the poor hose.
Yeah, RIP White Hose 2022, I think is when it happened. Oh my god, it's been 3 years.
Oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it? It doesn't seem that long ago. Oh, there we go. But then again, that's a good sign that hopefully the future progress that we're seeing right now, although Block 2's been having issues, let's not face it, we can't sugarcoat it. Block 2's been having issues, but once they get into a cadence, once they get into operational flights, we're going to start seeing Starship launching like Starlinks. It's going to be crazy. It really is. The cadence they're projecting for this vehicle is utterly bonkers, and I'm for it. I can't wait for it.
Chris, we had a question on one of the previous static fire streams that we didn't get to, but it's stuck in my mind because it was such a good question, and it's related to what you're saying when they get to launching starships at a Starlink scale. And it's, at what point does SpaceX become the top consumer of liquid oxygen in the United States? And I think we're probably pretty close already. It's really remarkable what they're doing, and hopefully we can see them get into operational mode here soon.
I was going to say, if you've got any questions, do at NASASpaceflight, followed by your question, press your return key on your computer keyboard, and then it'll magically flash into our panel, which we can then press, put on screen, and answer. How about that? That's witchcraft, isn't it? It's amazing how the internet works. But Alex has got something to say first.
Yeah, I have something to say about that, in fact. You can now type just NSF, at NSF, and that works too.
What?
It shows up in our panel.
I didn't get that memo. No one told me about that, Alex. I didn't get that memo. That's amazing.
Let's see. Everyone, try it out. Let's see.
Oh, no.
Show it to Chris.
No, I'll break the panel.
Did Alex just do a DOS?
That's good.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just daring people to try it out.
Oh, great. Now the panel, now the submitted questions have just been completely broken.
I'm watching the panel, Chris. You can focus on the questions that we have in there because we do have some good ones, and I will manage the chaos that you just caused.
Oh my word! Right. Anyway, the segue I was going to there was I averted my eyes towards the panel to take some questions, and I saw the support queue, which was bonkers again. It really is. So I'm going to thank some people before we get into questions, because that is incredible just seeing this side on this panel thing. I want to show you the panel one day. I need to do OBS and show you the panel. It'd be amazing. Magnum became a Capcom member. It means you've got access to our Discord. Welcome. It takes about an hour to integrate, but you sent that a while ago, so you're probably in there by now already. I'm pressing on nothing and it's not working. You've broken the panel, Alex. Telstar has gifted 1 red team membership. It's working now. Aaron Craig, I think it is. I'm sorry, Quake even. I completely butchered your name there, but you became a PadRat member. John Mr. Coffee, one of our regulars from Starbase Live and Rapside. Today was a Roger side. I wasn't available for it. Roger side chat. And it did a very good job. I was listening on it. I
feel like it's a little dangerous calling it that, though, because it sounds like we're going to kill Roger.
Roger side. Mark W became a PadRat member. Woodworker Don gifted 10 red team memberships. Roseanne Devast, he's amazing support, by the way, asks a question as well. The multitude view indicate this will be a spin test, not a static fire. What's the difference? So, Alex, let's go for this. The difference between a spin prime test and a static fire test. It might sound obvious to a lot of people who are regulars, but there might be some new people in right now.
If only we had the video. Anyways, yeah, right. So, you know, on Raptor, you've got one pump for the liquid oxygen. You have one pump for the methane because you gotta get in those propellants into the engine and then burn them. So what they do for a spin prime is they run those pumps, but they don't light up the engine, right? Now, for a full static fire test, they not only pump in those propellants, but they also fire up the pre-burners, which are sort of like mini rocket engines inside the rocket engine. There are two of them. One that is fuel-rich, that is, it burns a mixture that is sort of higher concentration of methane than oxygen. And then there's another one where it's the other way around. It's more oxygen than methane. And then the result of both exhaust from both pre-burners goes to the injector. From the injector, it goes to the main combustion chamber. Both exhausts essentially just burn with each other, and that's where all of the thrust is created. That is the static fire test, where essentially the full engine comes alive. For a spin prime, only the pumps are run, and it's only for a short amount of time. It's just essentially like a burst of cryogenics flowing out of the bottom of the rocket. So that's one of the things that we'll see if that happens today. If it happens with a static fire, then we'll see that cascade of cryogenics coming out from the bottom. If it is a static fire, you'll see fire coming out. We will probably also see a lot of dust and vapor and all that created from it. But yeah, and I assume that if they're going for a static fire test, we will also see the deluge being activated on the pad. If it is just a spin prime, I don't expect them to use the deluge. So once we get close to the test, within 10 seconds essentially, if the deluge system does not activate, then that'll be sort of, the clue that it's going to be a spin prime. But yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Alex. I was going to read out some more support, but it's just incredible because it's just built up again. But I want to go through questions. We like to alternate between all because I like, and this is a true thing, by the way. We read out any good question. Doesn't matter if it's a question from someone who's just turned up today. If you've just turned up today and you ask a question, we'll try and answer it. Simple as that. There's no hierarchy of it needs to be a super chat. Like some, you go on some different music channels and what have you, and you get reactors and people like that. They'll say, they'll take super chat questions only. We don't do that. If you're the first time here, doesn't matter if your name's in grey or anything like that. You're welcome. Welcome. Because it all adds up to the community we've got. We've got 3,000 people in already for this, and it all adds up, and that's why it's important that everyone's welcome. I'm going to take some questions though first. James, this is top of the queue, by the way. This is not me just picking it out. It's top of the queue. What happens first, next Starship flight or Chris getting a soundboard? I'm never getting a soundboard. I keep going downstairs to where the mailboxes are every morning with the expectation and hope, and I always come back up the stairs with sadness and tears because there's no soundboard in the post box. Oh well. JRE, this is one for you, chat, as well. Chat, join us and make it interactive. When flight is the question. So I'm going to guess first, and I'm going to leave it to everybody else, but chat, join in. Join in with your launch date, and you've got to pick a date, like August 24, something like that. You've got to pick a date. I'm going to say August 26. Jack, what do you think?
September 4th.
Ooh, September the 4th. Okay, Alex, what's your guess?
I think it's gonna be at the very least late October. Oh my god!
Like October.
August.
What?
Not October. No.
That's a Breaking Space video.
Wyoming
late
Coast
August.
moment.
Sorry, I just mixed the months. I don't know why. But yeah, I was thinking late August. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint an exact date. I guess before the Labor Day holiday, I guess, on that weekend. That because side note here, Labor Day is on a Monday, and one of the things that happens is that the weekend before Labor Day and Memorial Day and all of those federal holidays and whatnot, they cannot close the beach. during those weekends, and so the last potential launch date for this flight will be, let me take a look at the calendar. It will be August 28th or 29th, because those are the Thursday and Friday before that. So yeah, somewhere around late August, the week of the 25th, essentially. So yeah, pretty much in line with what Chris said.
Very good. Yeah, chat is pretty much along the lines of late August, early September. I think chat is very... No one's making a silly guess or anything like that. I think that's very impressive as well. Another side of our community, they know what they're talking about. It is a case of we're hoping that it's going to be late August, because that would be very nice that they get this spin prime test done, everything goes well, they roll it back, finish off the TPS work, demodify the pad. This is the trick, you see. People think, well, could just roll that booster now. They can't. They need to demodify this pad back into the original configuration so that it can rehost a booster, and that's when booster will roll out, booster 16 that is, roll out, be placed on the orbital launch mount, and then the ship will roll out in its flight configuration, be stacked for full stack, and then we'll get very excited about things, because that is pretty much days before launch when that happens. In fact, they might even reduce the timeline to a couple of days, maybe 1 or 2 days. So we'll come and see what happens on that one, but it's going to be fascinating to watch. Jack, I don't know the answer to this question. You know your technical stuff. Lankin does gaming. How do you manage to stream for so long? Like the Starbase stream has been going on for years. How do you manage that? So that's the whole thing on the bottom of the actual YouTube thing where it says Starbase Live has been... Hang on, I'm going to go on it myself.
4 years. We
yeah,
did 4
since
years.
July
like
the 12th. Since July the 12th, 2021. How do we continuously stream? How is that done? I mean, it's a good point. I don't know how we do it.
You do.
know.
It's a challenge, Chris. It takes a whole entire large team of very dedicated people. There's the SBL operators. There's the people who are out here in the field, like me and Dan and Caesar and Mary, and the people who come through from the Florida side, D and Max, and everybody that comes through. It takes a large group of people in the field, in the back end. It's a cast of, not thousands, because we're not a big company, but it's definitely, it takes a team. And, it takes people out here swapping batteries and cleaning lenses and replacing broken hardware and moving cameras at the appropriate place, that sort of thing. And it takes people on the production side to route the cameras to the appropriate, make sure the photons are getting to the end viewers in the appropriate way. And it's really remarkable. And I don't know that I'll do anything as impactful in my life than Starbase Live. So I'm really glad I spent the last chunk of my 30s on that with you guys, because it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And it takes a lot of work from a lot of really dedicated people, of which the field is just one small part.
I think that's a great answer, and it's a better answer now to give them, but I think the technical question is how do we keep it going without the kind of like resetting back to like started streaming 2 hours ago and things like that? Because that's the thing that I always find fascinating, that the fact that we've kept the stream up.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, you've published videos on our channel, so have I. When you go in to publish a video, like, there's just a certain amount of latent anxiety that you have, where it's like, make sure you don't accidentally end Starbase Live.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's solar powered off-grid cameras, that DOS masterminded. It's a robust server and backside production system. I just point camera and push button. I swap batteries. I clean lenses. I don't have to be that smart. So I just get to work with smart people.
Yeah, it really is credit to the team. I think it's a shorter version of the very valid, expansive answer that you gave earlier, that we've got people you may not know about behind the scenes who don't get the credit. They may not go on microphone, and you might not know them from like X and places like that, who are deeply involved and embedded in what we do, that ensure these streams stay up. Because I can guarantee you that live streaming with these cameras from South Texas in this area of the country is not easy. It really isn't easy. The internets are not great, are they, Jack?
No, and though they have gotten better, the environment out here, I mean, the fact that they're building rockets in this environment is testament to SpaceX's tenacity. Because any piece of hardware exposed to the salt air, exposed to the sand, exposed to the wind and the sun and the temperature differentials, this place is not kind on on cameras, on hardware, on anything, and it's just you gotta keep on keeping on.
Great views, by the way. Speaking of the views we provide, this is a great view. Alex, where do we stand with this? Because a lot of people have come in and going, okay, this is great. It's very impressive. It's very, very venty. But when test? That's what they usually do. Do the WEN test? Where do we stand in this process towards the spin prime, Alex?
Yeah, so maybe for people that may not know what we're looking at here, this is the OLM vent. That is the product, I guess, of chilling down the lines, the propellant lines, to go from the tank farm out to the pad. You can see there's like 2 white tubes coming out from that leg on the launch mount, and there's like that vent coming off from the side. That is not a coincidence. Those 2 lines, those 2 white lines, are the propellant lines, and so those are getting chilled down right now. The one at the bottom is for liquid oxygen, the one at the top is for liquid methane. And so what you see in venting there is gaseous oxygen, because as the line gets chilled down, the sort of because of thermal exchange and everything, right? The heat exchange, one thing gets hot, the other gets cold. And so if the pipe gets cold, that means the oxygen gets hot. It warms up, turns into a gas. It needs to be vented. That's what that vent is for. Now, the thing is, of course, if you want to load liquid oxygen onto the ship, that vent shouldn't be there. Right? That's the whole deal, because you will still be venting instead of loading it into the ship. So once it cuts off, once that vent just disappears and stops, then that'll be our clue that they are loading liquid oxygen onto the ship. For the methane, it's a little bit harder to see because they cannot vent that. First, because it's a hazard for fire and whatnot. Also because of the environment. And so what they do is there's like a reclaimer pipe that goes around the launch mount on the other side and then goes back to the tank farm. And that gaseous methane gets turned into a liquid, turned back to the storage tanks, blah, 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 all that story there. So the way that we will be able to tell about the methane side getting loaded is because we're going to see the pipes that go to the ship getting frosty. So once that propellant load begins, we'll see the liquid oxygen and methane pipes, because they're not enclosed for this sort of MacGyver test to stand, so to speak. We'll see those pipes getting frosty, and so that'll be our clue that propellant load is definitely underway. As to when might happen, because that was the long explanation of what we're seeing and what we should expect next. When should that happen? Well, based on previous tests that we've seen here with the ship and the MacGyver stand and all that, it should be approximately in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But it's a bit subjective because it's a chill down, right? So it all comes down to how cold that line is and how cold things get. And if it just gets colder a little bit earlier, then it might happen earlier. If it happens a little bit later, then it's going to happen a little bit later. But usually, should happen roughly 5 to 10 minutes from now, given when this started.
Alex, we're gonna go sidebar here. Did you get the email from Blue Origin Press Relations just now?
Yeah, I actually put it in the breaking news chat.
Yeah, let's tell chat if they're not part of the media list on Blue Origin. They're talking about a Mars telecommunications orbiter they're going to build. That's going to vastly reduce going to increase the windows. It's kind of like a very blurb. I need to click on the link that they sent us, but that's interesting. Yeah, so that just completely caught my eye because my emails, when I get new emails, it just pops up with a little notification, and I get so many of them, I just get used to it. But yeah, that sounds quite interesting. Oh, thank you, Carson. Carson's clicked on the link. Here we go. Alex, I can't read the screen.
I can't either. Sorry, because I'm on my laptop for this.
Wait, so
but
it's one satellite, not a constellation? Everything in this refers to it as an orbiter.
Yeah, so I can give a bit of context here. So, as part of, there's been this recently passed bill in Congress, in the U.S. Congress, that gave money to NASA to have a Mars telecommunications orbiter, and so this is what it's for. It's not a telecommunications constellation or system or something. It's just one single orbiter, because that's all they need, at least for the time being, until they send humans and all that. NASA still has plans for that, don't get me wrong, and we actually, I think, on Twist,
this
we
press
feature
release-
that. Oh, woo!
It does
Hang on.
say supplemented with a small number of deployable relay satellites in low
Ooh.
Mars orbit.
OLM then
See-
stopped.
That's very good. So we're keeping an eye on this and talking about this as well. But the fun thing is, I thought Starlink, SpaceX would do like a Mars link before anything like this would be. I know this is not the same thing, but it's fascinating. Mars is becoming the game for both SpaceX and Blue Origin, and that is a good thing. Let's have them
Thank
both
goodness.
sort of like poking each other. Yeah. Because that'll benefit us all, because if they get into a bit of a competition, you've got like a small internal commercial space race, if you know where I'm going with that. Does that make sense, Jack? Where Blue Origin's pushing, SpaceX go,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
well, I see you pushing.
It makes
yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
And having sort of a Martian Clips program is a good thing. Like, we should have that. We should have had that. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. Go ahead, Alex.
That is in fact part of the so separate from the bill that I'm talking about that passed in Congress recently. There's also the presidential budget request, which also has mentioned like a commercial Mars payload services program. I don't remember the exact name, but it was like Clips, but for Mars, essentially.
Clims.
Yeah, I think it's more like SIMPS. I don't know, like with an M. CMPS or something like
If
that.
you could find a way to call it clams, that'd be even funnier. But that, yeah, we're going to keep close eye on it. I'm glad you put it into the relevant channel in our back room, Alex, because that could be a quite interesting topic for us to digest and cover further. But back to Ship 37, the Orbital Launch Mount vent has stopped. Where does that put us on the timeline as far as a potential either, let's not rule it out, static fire test or a spin prime test?
Well, now there comes the big question. Because when they did the spin prime test on Ship 33 and Ship 35 at Massey's, so with Block 2 ships, they have loaded completely the liquid oxygen tank and just a little bit of the methane. And for people that might have been recently on these ship tests with us, they might remember that is the same propellant load levels that they have for a 6-engine static fire test. And so that is one thing. The first thing is that maybe what they do today is either if it is a 6-engine static fire test or a 6-engine spin prime and things like that, then it might get fully loaded on the liquid oxygen side, and they do that to weigh it down for a static fire test, and then they have just a little bit of methane, right?
Cool.
However, Chris, there's no guarantee that they're going to be doing the same thing as they've done at Massey's. So the next thing that we should be looking out for, by the way, we can see there those pipes already getting frosty. The lines going to the ship. So there's propellant load already confirmed, like 100%. There's cryogenic fluids going into the ship. The other thing that we should be looking out for is going to be engine chill. Engine chill always happens roughly 20 minutes before the test. If they do a short load instead of liquid oxygen, instead of fully loading the ship with liquid oxygen, then it's going to be a shorter time frame, right? It's not going to take a longer time because they don't fully load it. So that means then we might get a static fire within maybe the next 40 minutes or so, maybe 30 minutes even, if it is the short one. So we'll
within
see.
the next 30 minutes, that's cool.
Could be at the top of the hour, yeah.
Yeah, that works for me. North of Antarctica, I want to make sure I keep up with this because we have a panel that is completely full. Never mind the fact that Alex asked everyone to do that thing, which I'm not going to repeat because other people will just join in otherwise. North of Antarctica, I know your name and I know who you are, and you're at it again. Is it time to Bergen again? And I hope that's not a thing, but thank you for your support. That is a super chat. That's why I read it out. But I'm trying to work out what the Bergen thing is again. Not break me because I'm already broken, so that's not going to help. Space Perp, bless this spin perp prime. That's a tongue twister. Thank you, Space Perp, who then gifted 5 Red Team memberships as well. That's bonkers. James, as always, love the coverage you guys provide. More bacon for Jack. Thank you. You got something from the store. Let's see what you got from the store, James. You got 2 things.
Flight
I'm
8
gonna
and
click
Flight
on
9 patch.
Oh, there we go. How did you know that
Nice.
before I came up? How did you know that before?
Because I'm a
missing a trick?
professional, Chris. Also, if you
Oh.
hover your mouse over the little thing that says store message, a thing
No.
pops up that... Yeah, remember when we talked about that in a meeting
No,
forever ago? Jay made it work.
No one told
I
me
think
about that. No one
I think it
told
was
me about
Jay.
this. I did not know that was a thing. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it used to
I-
be when we read out the store message, you had to, like, wait for the thing to pop up, and it would, like, kind of cause a little bit of a delay in your
Yes.
commentary. No, you just hover over the thing now. Just hover over it. Try it.
Well, no, because I've got no more. If somebody is willing, this is a terrible, terrible store, Pim. But if someone would like to get something from the store, please add a message at checkout just so I can get it in my panel and I'll do the hover mouse trick. I'm sorry. Maybe I could offer to reimburse somebody. Maybe I should buy something from the store. How about that?
I'm literally about to go do it myself just to mess with you.
Oh my! But look, we do have quality merch in our store. We do, and that's not even a lie. I personally was the person to say that's a great idea to Lindsay when Lindsay came up with this idea of TPS mugs and tumblers and phone. What do you call them? My brain's not working. Phone covers. Phone protectors. That's what they are. Yes.
Phone cases, yeah.
Phone cases. That's the word I was looking for. It's been a day, boys and girls. Phone cases. TPS. No guarantee. Fake applause. Fake laughter. Soundtrack that your phone will re-enter with this TPS cover. It won't. It'll melt. But you're not going to throw it from space anyway, are you? But this is really good merch you can get from our store. Terrible store message there, but you get the idea that our store is great. I think most of your regulars and hardcore members, you know our store's got good stuff in there. There we go. Did we get something in the store? No, I'm joking. Transonic Sonic TV. What a username. Became a Padrap member. Bideford, one of the regulars. Chris, please tell me the name of your cell mod you've been waiting for. Need to know so my cousin can purchase one and ship to your house. No, Bideford, Kevin Michael Reid promised me one, and Kevin Michael Reid will send me one. I don't even know what a soundboard looks like. Never mind what the make of it is. I just want to press buttons that make regular sounds that they do on the flame trench. It's a small thing I asked for. A B1062. I'm going to take credit for getting... Oh, no, you're not. For getting the NSF added to the panel. Thanks, Jay. The panel's broken because of that. EMT565. Thank you for becoming a Padra member. Ethereal Swordsman. All right, I think it's time... Oh, hang on. So I think it's going to change it to classic yellow. Yes, you get it. I'm going to play... a classic yellow. I have no idea what that means. If someone does, let me know. William Foss. It's been a minute since last done this. Hello, NSF and Chris. Hello, William Foss. Yes. Free Foss. Remember that. Is that propellant loading?
Yep.
There we go. I think we should notify that before I carry on talking. Yeah, there we go. We are starting to see them load Ship 37 for its test. We don't know which test. We think it's been prime tests, but no guarantee that it is. We just don't know. They don't tell you these things. It's always been a case with Starbase. It's observational data, and you tend to
Really
work
quick.
on those facts. Yes, Jack. Go ahead.
Speaking of observational data, Alex, are those engine chill lines we see on the side of the launch mount frosty, or
Yes.
is that just lighting?
Well, when they start propellant load, they get frosty. But it doesn't indicate that they are indeed doing engine chill. It's
Got it.
a bit complicated to explain, but yeah. I don't see right now the engine chill. Because the whole thing, what they do is they reclaim the gaseous oxygen, right? And so they put it out there in a pit. Right now, I don't see any venting from that pit out there. It's sort of back the tower. So I'm looking at the camera feeds that look in that direction, and I don't see any venting from there. So I don't see engine chill yet.
I'm seeing store messages. I'm doing the hover trick, and I'm just astonished. This is the first time I knew we could do this. Jack has got Starship patches 1 to 4 sticker set because I hover mouse over the message, and before I even click on it, I know what he's got. It's amazing. It's like we're living in the future now. Nathan got these.
If you didn't know, you can put a message in a store purchase, the same as if you can do a super chat, or if you do a tip to tips.nasaspaceflight.com. All are equal. You can still put a message in, or remain anonymous and not put a message in. But yeah, it's all possible. Anything's possible. It's the future, baby.
Amazing. Nathan, got the Starship TPS Vagabond 20 ounces, that's what the Americans use, tumbler, which I think is a large size, 20 ounce. Jack, have you got any idea what that is in
More than
Empire
500
units?
milliliters.
There we go. Very cool. That is quite a lot. That is big. Yeah, that's very good.
I only
so
know that because I typically have a 12-ounce drink on me, and I know they're like 455 milliliters. So I know 20 is more than 500. That it's like super vague. It's probably way more, but yeah, roughly more than 500.
You do gallons of milk as well, don't you? Gallons of milk.
Look, Chris, we do a lot of stupid things. Let's move on.
Sort of glad the wife busted busted a mug. Gives me an excuse to buy this. Godspeed Ship 37. So there we go. You have a replacement. A TPS bonded replacement. There we go. That's really cool. Mr. got a Vagabond 20-ounce NSF logo Unitech t-shirt. It's still doing a hover over the other one. So Jay, you've not got it perfect. It's still got half of the other previous message there. You got the unisex t-shirt. Thank you for getting that done, mister. That's awesome. Jared, time to break Chris again. You've using an alternate name. You got a throw blanket though. That's really cool. Vincent, you guys rock. Texas Tank Watcher sticker set. That's bonkers. That's really cool.
Thanks,
Oh,
everybody.
so
You
many.
gave Chris a lot of practice just now. He needed the practice.
I know, but I need to refresh the panel, I think. There we go. That's
What's
what I'm going to do.
What's that venting going kind of uppy near the QD, Alex? Sorry, Chris.
No, go for it.
That's the Pope vent. It's in the foreground.
No. Between the ship and the BQD, is that just condensation coming off the propellant pipes? It looks like it's going.
Oh,
up.
that. Yeah, that may be from the ship. I have no idea.
Neat.
I do like this. I know a lot of people don't, but I do like the look of this modification they've done with it on the booster quick disconnect HUD. I think it looks cool. I really do think it looks cool. Oh, thank you, Jack. I'm glad I'm not just a weirdo. I was the only person who thinks that, but I do think that's. I know it's done for a reason. Go ahead, Alex.
I don't like the fact though that the OLM vent came back.
Oh, why is
interesting.
that, Alex?
Yeah, and I also heard the drone going to the pad, like I heard on some of our camera feeds.
Mm-hmm. Alex,
A
just
drone
to explain to
heading
the
out
new
there.
people. Alex, to explain to the new people why it's a bad thing the Orbital Launch Mount vent came back.
Because it means that they have stopped propellant
Thank
load.
you. There we go.
Yeah.
Just because I know people going, why is that bad in chat? So I was
Yeah,
making
the
sure
Pope
we did
vent is also running, which is often an indicator that they may be doing a drain back of the propellant. You may see that OLM vent stopping at some point, and that's going to be our indicator that they're doing that drain back, by the way. Just because it disappears, it doesn't mean that, oh, they are back to filling it up. No, it's part of the detanking procedure.
Right. So to clarify, they're not filling it back up. We don't have the drain back yet, do we? I'm trying to work out what you were.
Yeah, they are in drain back.
Oh, that's not good, Alex. Can you change your answer to? Oh no, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Oh well, it's Ship 37 test day, and they have a long window for this, so it could be a long night. But that's fine. As long as the thing's intact and doesn't go boom like Ship 36, that's fine. We don't want any more ruds. That's what we don't want. If they did test a little bit longer tonight, that's fine. As long as they do it right and everything works, that's the main thing. I'm going to take some more questions before we get this. Yes, Alex.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the fact that like there's no engine chill vent though. If the fact is, if they are only going for one engine though, for just the RVAC that they changed, maybe this might actually mean the end of propellant load. So there's a positive side to it.
Okay.
It's a new test, Chris, and sorry, folks. Like, it's a bit of a game of looking at the behavior of things, and so right now, it's complicated to tell.
It's classic
Well,
tank watching.
Yeah, that vent is going on and off. Is that any indication? It's not constant. Give me a ray of hope about the future, Alex. Give me some hope here, because we just suggested detanking, and I just don't want anyone to sort of like just turn the stream off and think, oh, well, that's aborted. There's a potential still that this is just because it's a new kind of test cycle. It could be something different, and it could still be on for very soon.
I'll tell you my thoughts. The thing is, if they only are doing one single... So let's imagine they only do one single engine, just the RVAC that they changed, and they do a spin prime just of that. Then if they are only chilling down that one, maybe that would explain why I'm not seeing that vent that I just told you that comes out from the engine chill pit, because it's not too strong. It's not just enough. It's not all 6 engines, right? When it's the booster, for example, there's literally a pool of that oxygen in that pit. So that's my thinking. The only problem that I see for that theory, that maybe they are indeed going for just a single engine spin prime, is that Pope vent, that stack going vertical, and that venting up there, which often runs when they are doing detanking operations. And it's also very soon after propellant load started, like, what was 10 minutes or so, right?
That was quick, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I do want to... I don't know, there is that weird new venting that we haven't seen before from near the BQD. Or maybe we have seen it before and I'm just dumb. But that, like, correlation, causation, you know, it's a whole thing. But like Chris said, this is a brand new test setup. And who knows what could be happening right now. A lot of times when we know what's going on, or we think we know what's going on, it's based on experience and data points of seeing things happen over and over again. And because this is so new, this is only the second time this ship has been on a mount like this for testing, and we didn't even think this was going to happen. I mean, we thought it would happen once with 37 and once with 38, and you know, now we get an extra bonus one, which, to Chris's point, I do kind of like the way that it looks. So I'm not sad that we get more wonky ship testing on the launch mount, but the window today, the testing window, goes until, what, 3 a.m.? It's a really weird window, 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. So whole bunch of time left in the window for more testing.
Cool. Right, let's go through some questions. Let's do a bit of speed run so we can make sure people are not left with their questions just left there and not answered. Let's go for Cat Johnny. Will there ever be a metallic tiles on the ship upper stage? Alex?
Yeah, they've been testing those, so they might do that in the future. Probably a combination of the ceramic ones and the metallic ones.
Did you see that red one on 37, Alex, from the rollout photos I uploaded to members?
Yeah, the rusty one. I saw it.
Is it
People were
rusty?
saying,
Is that
"Oh,
what it
there's-"
is?
It looks a bit rusty, let's be honest.
Are we suggesting that we send every photograph we take at Starbase, which are many, to members? Like L2 members? And no, I'm joking. I mean, it's true that we actually do that, but I didn't want to make it too obvious or on the nose. But yeah, if you're an L2 member, I think to cover everything, if you're an L2 member, you get everything. Basically, it's like a fire hose, touch your face. You're welcome. Enrique X. After rolling ship 37 back to where it would be a good opportunity to undo all the orbital launch mounts to set up for all the launch configuration, and you cut your question off at the end of it. What? After rolling ship 37 back, would it be a good opportunity, let's take it that way, to undo the orbital launch mounts to set it up for a launch configuration? But they're going to have to. They have no choice. That's something that Ryan Webber was explaining on Raptorside recently, that they can't even close the booster quick disconnect HUD with the current configuration as it is. So they have to. I think that's what you're asking. Can they just leave it on and launch? The other problem being that if they did launch a super heavy booster off that pad with those configurations still on top, I think they'd probably get blown off anyway. The power of those 33 engines would blow them off, but they have to demodify it because of the stool it's on, because of the piping that's in the way of the HUD closing. So unfortunately, they've got no choice. Scully Dra, any ideas what work would be done during the last week? Depends what work you're talking about.
I assume on 37?
A TPS, probably, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I guess that engine swap, or engine swaps, we only really saw the one, right, Alex?
Yeah, we only saw one. We saw an engine coming out of the Bega Bay 2, and then another one was going in. So yeah, it was just one. As for what other work, well, we see that there's more tiles installed. That's a positive thing, right? That they at least installed more of those. Other kind of work, I have no idea, to be honest. Maybe they went into the tanks, maybe they went into the payload bay section. Unfortunately, those kinds of things are internal, right? So we cannot see any of that work. As for the pad, well, they just put everything back together, right? To how they had it before they removed the ship.
Jack, you pass by Star Factory on a daily occurrence, I would assume. The nighttime drive past is usually the best for taking photography of the ships that are poking their nose cones out of the Star Factory windows. And I got a question here from Mechazilla who asks, when Ship 39 stacking, are we close? Because we have seen they've put the flaps and a lot of tiles on Ship 39's nose cone already. Where do you think it stands in the production cadence?
That's a really interesting question. It's challenging because several weeks back in the Star Factory, like through the windows, we caught a snippet of a barrel that said, it looked like it said 39.1, which would imply the existence of a test tank that might need to exist before they stack 39 proper, but that could have just been the vagaries of shooting a label through a window inside of a factory at night. Like, it maybe didn't say 39.1. Sure looked like it, though. But if there's no test tank to precede Ship 39 proper, then hopefully very soon, because the parts are seemingly coming together, and Mega Bay 2 is getting emptier as we get rid of these last two V2 ships.
Redborough, I'm probably butchered your name there. Reb Elbromman. I'm sorry, I really made a mess of your name there. But that you've become a launch director member. That's a very high level of membership, so very much appreciate your support there. Rocket Fella, Starship's never opened the PES doors in flight yet. It got me thinking, wouldn't the structure shrink when filled with cryo? A door opening test while cryoproofing should shed light on this. So that we have seen them test the payload bay PES dispenser door at Massey's. Was it during a cryo though? I can't remember. Alex, can you remember when they were testing was it Ship 38's PES dispenser door at Massey's? Were they actually cryoing at the time? I don't think they were.
The cryo happened in between so like they had the ship payload. I don't remember the door itself being open during the cryo test, but it was out there for cryo testing. And before those cryo tests happened, they opened the payload bay door of Ship 38 a couple of times for multiple hours, for several hours.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good question because they've not yet had it work to the point they've got Starlink simulators deployed from ship. Obviously, a few reasons for that so far. In the test flights of Block 2, they haven't got to that point in flight, but there's been obviously some questions about that door. I'm hoping that if this flight 10 goes well, the RVACs behave themselves, the sea level, basically the ship engines behave themselves full stop, and they get into a stable attitude for deployment, that the door opens and it deploys some of those Starlink sims that they're riding with on these test flights. That'd be very good. That'd be a good milestone for SpaceX. Josh Zero, Jack wearing a Spin Prime fog kilt. Oh, God. Sorry about that, Jack. It was a super chat to read it out. Jason,
are you?
Sorry. Yeah. Are you really, though? Yeah. Oh, I am sorry. I'm just wondering if he actually is, though. That's the thing. Jason Russell, gifted 5 red memberships. Thank you. You did get a membership, by the way. You might have noticed in chat, a lot of you, because there have been a lot of them. You may have been gifted a Red Team membership, and it'll tell you you've been gifted a Red Team membership, and it'll tell you by whom. Just say thank you in chat. It's a small thing to say thank you for a month's free membership, really is. And there's no commitment at all. It basically is a month, and then it just comes off the end if you don't renew yourself. You have to literally renew for it not to come off. You don't get auto build or anything like that. It's impossible because it's been gifted. Dude, man. Good job, everyone. NSF, thank you. That's all you're saying, and it's a super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Great stream. Love NSF channel. A cage with a store message. Oh, I should have clicked on it. Flight 8 patch. There we go. Is it? Actually, I clicked on that too fast. Yes, I clicked on that too fast. It was a TPS phone cover. But the Flight 8 patch was from Anonymous. Anonymous has gone shopping. I've got 6 here. I'm going to click on them all. I'm going to click on the panel. Flight 8 patch, Flight 7 patch, Flight 6 patch, Flight 2 patch, and a Flight 9 patch. That's what Anonymous got. I look forward to all your live streams. Keep up the great work. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm going to click all of these to come through, and they'll flash across the screen. But I very much appreciate your support, because the store is an awesome way of supporting us. It means you actually get something through the post in return for your support, which I think is a really cool thing. And Charles got the Starship TPS Vagabond 20-ounce tumbler. Woo! That's popular. That is very popular. I'm seeing that 20-ounce a lot. That's why I'm noticing it's popular. As did Donald. No drain bag. No disassemble. Name the movie. Jack will know the answer. I'm going to ask chat. Let's not cheat. Let's give chat the opportunity to name the movie. No disassemble. I'll wait for chat to catch up and see if the first person who gets the movie. We're having a movie quiz. I'm waiting for chat. Here we go. Arden wins, I should say. Short circuit.
Hey.
Well done. Yeah,
Nice.
well done. And North Antarctica's back. The life and times of Janky Stand. Of course, the modification. People have been calling it Janky Stand. Thank you again, North Antarctica. Not the first time. Apocalypse Cow, Denjamu. Gifted 5 red team memberships. Very much appreciate the support. Let's go back to other questions here. No Good God asks, will they activate the Deluge or DSS just in case it does a booster? 7. So remember Boost 7 had a spin prime test that was not all that much fun because it had a bit of an explodey situation. Does that mean that any test, like a spin prime even, would involve the DSS firing, Alex?
Yep, it does for boosters, and I would expect that for even a ship spin prime. I will still expect that. My worry right now is that we're clearly now seeing that defrosting on that liquid oxygen tank. So that's clearly an indication that they are indeed detanking Shape 37.
Uh-oh.
But yeah.
Well, this is why they test. I mean, I know it sounds almost like you're making excuses for things, but it is let's remember this. And this is a true statement. And people will say Chris has just been friendly towards SpaceX and whatever. No, I'd say this about any rocket, any new rocket. This is still a new rocket. This is still in a test program. That they will find things. And remember, it's not just a new rocket. This is a completely strange system compared to what it's normally used to. At Massey's, for example, this is a modification to Pad 1. So they may have issues with piping and things like that. We don't know what the issue is here, but it could be piping related. And that would be something they got to go and check out with the people who go to the pad. And that's where we'll see indications, because there'll be cars that will line up where the roadblock is right now, and then they'll get clearance to enter the pad, fix whatever it is, and maybe just recycle and go back into it later on tonight. Do we know what the test window finishes for this one, Alex?
3 a.m.
Yeah, 3 a.m. Very late.
Okay.
And
So-
then they have a backup window tomorrow, 3 hours after that at 6 a.m. and then it goes out to 7 p.m. So, like they could just be doing this tomorrow in the morning, very early in the morning, if they wanted to.
Well, let's see how long it takes them for them to fix whatever this issue is and get back into the cycle of proper loading, and hopefully it won't be too long away from the test that they're looking to conduct. To take you through now, because I need to go off and check on the Vulcan launch. We're live streaming the Vulcan launch as well, which is happening from Cape Canaveral. I'm going to have to go do some bandicamming, some tweets. So I'm going to hand over hosting hosting duties. You see, it's a good job I'm coming off because my brain's dying. To Jack. Thank you, Jack, for taking over this. And I'll be checking in myself and seeing how we do on this recycle.
Good deal. Yeah, thanks, Chris. We will be in good hands. No, that sounds weird because they're my hands. We'll be good. You go do your thing. Thanks for holding it down at the start of the stream. Look at Vulcan. It's pretty. All right, Alex. It is chaos time. No, I'm kidding. We're going to keep watching the ship and seeing what's happening. This is just classic Texas tank watching. We don't have a lot of heritage with this test setup, so we don't have as good of an idea of the things that are happening. But yeah, that weird upward venting or whatever certainly looked to my eye to be different.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, at the time when you asked me about that, I was looking at all their camera feeds and whatnot. I was trying to look for the engine chill and all that. Like I was concentrating on another thing. So I just looked to my side. I look at it on my iPad and everything. I was like, that might be the booster lines or the ship lines or whatever. Like, I just saw that venting and I thought, that's okay, right? But then, of course, I went back and I sort of played it again, tried to look at it, and it almost seems like there's something dripping from those pipes. I'm totally, going out on a limb here and like woo-woo speculation time, if you will. But it almost seems like there was stuff dripping down from one of the pipes and like pulling into one of the sides of the like on the quick disconnect for the booster and things like that. And that's what we're seeing going up. It was like the venting from that cryogenic fluid dripping down and then forming a little bit of that pool there, and then that vent goes up. Like I think maybe that's what we're seeing, which would explain them stopping things and be like, whoops, nope, let's stop this, right? And why maybe the drones have been going around. I've keeping an ear on our microphones, and I keep hearing every 10 minutes or 15 minutes the drone passing by and buzzing our cameras and everything. So yeah, I would not be surprised if that was the case here. But again, total speculation time. I'm not saying that's what happened or anything, but it's what I think might have happened, right?
Right.
Obviously, we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, this is such an improvised setup, and they started taking it apart and then put it back together. And if you remember out there, having seen the first round of these engine tests with 37, on their first attempt, they had to send a team out and scrubbed for the day. And then on their the first attempt for the 6-engine static fire, they had to send a team out, but they still got it done. So
Yeah.
It's an improvised setup, and things pop up. It could have been as simple as somebody didn't turn the right knob, or somebody forgot to torque the bolts on a pipe blind or something.
The flanges,
who knows?
remember?
Yeah, the flanges. The flanges.
Oh, see, it looks like it's happening now again. Look at that. See?
Yeah, it does. Huh.
Maybe because they are draining back. Since they are draining back that same liquid, it's going back through the same line, so it's probably dripping the same way that it was probably dripping before when it was being loaded onto the ship. So yeah.
Right. And it's definitely starting and stopping, which is interesting.
Probably because they're trying to like maybe regulate. Again,
Yeah.
complete speculation time here. That they're maybe like,
Right.
okay, let's strain a little bit, and then another little bit, right? And trying to
Right.
regulate how much of that is dripping. Jack, if that was methane,
Stop it. Could they static fire in their...
could the static fire in the rain? Yeah.
Actually, here, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to go make sure my camera is rolling, just because, you just never know. Mr. Kieran is asking, how do you think they will make the Block 3 hot stage reusable? All right, ready to go. I'll be right back.
What? The hot stage for Block 3 reusable? Well, I mean, it's just gonna be integrated with the booster. They don't need to eject it or anything like they do it now with Block 2s. I don't know, Jack, are you back? I think that was the answer. I mean, there's nothing else. Unless Mr. Caden, what's the word? Yeah, Karen wants to put something else in chat. I'm looking at chat right now. Jack abandoned me.
Good deal.
Abandoner.
No, I did not.
There
I'm
we go.
here. I'm
He's
here.
back.
I've been here the whole time. I never left. Astro Guy's asking, well, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Will they remove the QD adapter during launch, or will they leave it? They're going to remove it. They have to remove it.
Yeah.
Joaquin P Carrot says SQR, that's the thing the ship is sitting on right now, equals ship quad ring wall. I don't know. I don't know if it does or doesn't. That's a good guess, though, certainly. Alex, what do you think SQR stands for?
I have no idea. I always say that, if SpaceX, like maybe Dan Hewitt, he goes out there again on Twitter and says, oh, SQR means this, and then he explains what the Q means, I'm probably gonna be very angry at that because I cannot find any I cannot find any word beginning with Q that can work to sort of describe what this, what the stands and all that
I
mean.
would really love to know. I would love to know, but we don't know.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh well, it's qualification. I'm like, no, because that's not where they qualify the ships. So even in the old days of when they had the suborbital pads, the suborbital pads was where the qualification stands, I guess. They did not have any sort of qualification on these stands. They are just transport stands. So yeah,
Yep.
and quad, it's like
Why
K
quad?
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's plausible. It's plausible. More questions while we wait to see what's going on with testing and keeping our eyes on that maybe completely normal venting from near the BQD there. Maybe it's like Alex, you were speculating that it might be dripping, like ice forming on the prop lines, and then there's condensation dripping, and then we're seeing that sublime and rise up. Maybe it's coming
It's
from
so
inside
sublime.
the BQD itself. What did you make a pun?
Yeah. Well, I'd be
Good man.
surprised if it is from the booster quick disconnect itself, because in theory, what they have done is just bypass the lines that go to the booster quick disconnect. So if for whatever reason that we're venting, I'd be
I guess the question
very
is
worried. But
right.
yeah.
The question would be is how did they bypass it exactly? Like, did they just put a blind on the end of the booster connections and tap off the lines, or did they actually remove the booster hardware from the loop?
Yeah, they connect to the pipes. So, as I was mentioning before, they have these big propellant lines that go up from the leg, and then they go out to the booster quick disconnect and everything. They just open it up. They open the hood. They made these square openings and everything, and they just take out the propellant line that goes into because within the hood they have flex hoses, because that thing needs to go out
Right.
and then in, so it deploys out to the booster, and then it retracts at liftoff and all that, or when you're wanting to destack the booster and all that. So those need to be flex hoses. You can just disconnect those. There are flanges and everything to the normal fixed pipes, right?
Right.
And so you just disconnect that, and then you put in the fixed pipes that you can see there that they have built for the ship. Now, at the end of those fixed pipes, of course, there are also flex hoses, so that they then connect it to the ship. The drip seems to be happening from one of those, though, because it's right at the end of that of those ship hoses. So I have no idea, to be honest.
We'll keep watching and keeping our eyes on it. And also, you can see the PIP, the picture-in-picture. We're keeping our eyes on the road as well as they drain back the ship. I want to thank some people. Don't want to get too far behind. You know, it's always a mix. Oh, I hear the drone.
See?
Interesting. Maybe they're going to go take a look at something with it. I just want to listen to it. That's...
flanges, not flanges.
Right. Roseanne DeVasto, thank you so much for the support. They say, having the three of you together, I think the best reaction is serendipity. Aw, thank you. Brad Ferris, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Toby Woby, what's up, dude? Becoming a Padrat member. Thank you. Seriously, dude, thank you. Apocalypse Cow, with a super chat, thank you so much. They say, simultaneous streams is a boss move. Nicely done, watching both on TV and tablet. Thank you, Apocalypse Cow. We do have a simultaneous stream going right now as well for the Vulcan stream, including a low latency feed, thanks to Alex, I'm not going to say it right. I'm a dumb Arianespace? Arianespace?
Yeah, technically it's Arianespace. It's, you can say Arianespace. It's okay.
But yeah, low latency feed, that really exciting. So if you have multiple screens, I
3,
mean, who doesn't have
2,
multiple screens?
1 hour to go for Vulcan. I was looking at the
Hey.
countdown clock for the Vulcan
You
stream.
freaked me out. I was like, am I talking over liftoff? Oh God.
3, 2, 1.
Decollage. But yeah, that is also
Decollage.
going. If you have multiple screens, bring it up. The only reason we can have multiple streams, like live streams for events, in addition to our 3 24/7 live streams, is because of everybody's support. So thank you, Apocalypse Cow, and thank you for the kind words and recognizing the hard work that's put in by the entire team of everybody. I mean, we've got a whole separate commentary team and production team working the Vulcan launch right now. People in the field, people in the studio, the whole 9 yards, like we do for any rocket launch that we can point a camera at. Meanwhile, Starbase never sleeps. I mean, literally, it's the testing window goes till 3 a.m. So, you know, the only reason we can do that stuff is because you guys rule. Like Arctech gifting 20 Red Team memberships, that rules. 20 people now have access to the membership program. Be sure you thank Arctech. Gloria becoming a PadRat member. Arctech again with a $50 super chat. Arctech, thank you so much. That's extremely generous of you. It's a huge amount of money. They say, love the stream. Keep up the great work. You got it, buddy. Apocalypse Cow again. Wow, y'all. What do you even say? They say 3 a.m. coffee fun. Thank you so much, buddy. Ninja Decimator. Pew pew pew. Gifting a Red Team membership. All right, all is forgiven. He'll know what I'm talking about. Craig Stewart becoming a PadRat member. Scott Carr saying SQR stands for Super Quick Rhino. SQR Rhino being in the name for Stage 0. That's a stretch. But hey, we take all guesses. Mary Claire Mosier becoming a PadRat member. Thank you all for enabling us to walk and chew gum at the same time, metaphorically speaking, with our live streaming. Like, it's one of the things only NSF can do. And it's really cool. Alex, Stephen Lewis is asking if they can capture and recondense the methane, why don't they do that with liquid oxygen?
Because it's cheap. You know, it's not a hazard either. I mean, unless you have, like,
Right.
the thing with oxygen is that it burns. It makes things burn, right? But other than that, if you don't have anything, like if you just have concrete or anything, it's not like the concrete is just gonna, you know, burst in flames or anything. It needs oxygen. It makes up 21% of the air and things like that. So you can vent it out. The methane, though, it can be, it's flammable, highly flammable. It's also bad for the environment. I know some people don't care too much about that, but still, you know, hazards, risks, and things like that, you still try to contain those as much as you can. And yeah, that's essentially
Plus
why. It's
it's-
very cheap as well. The part about
Plus
being
it's
very
just-
cheap helps.
It's stinky. No, I'm kidding. Rocket grade methane does not have the mercaptans in it that make like your stove natural gas stinky. That was a joke. To be clear, it was a bad joke, but it was a joke. I find the best humor is the stuff you have to explain. Lord Redfern, thanks for the question. They say, do you think SpaceX will learn from the last test series and not deconstruct the mods to the pad before checking out the ship first? So what we saw before today was ship 37 did 2 static fires, and then everything seemed fine, and then it rolled back to the barn, and SpaceX even started to remove the modifications that we're looking at right now that are enabling this test, or whatever's happening right now, and then they had to start putting it all back. So do you think they'll learn, Alex? Do you think they'll wait to start demodding the pad until 37 is back in the barn and they've had a chance to really go over it with a fine-tooth comb? Or do you think they're in a rush and they're going to just pull everything off the same as last time?
I hope that they actually wait a little bit. We went through the timeline, so a bit of a plug here for Starbase update, because we released that, I think it was like yesterday around this time, like 25 hours ago. And right at the beginning, we already talked about this, right? That they started removing all of the mods to Pad 1. And it was maybe like 48 hours. I think they removed Ship 37 was on a Saturday, and on Monday, that's when they stopped the work. and then they started putting everything back together. There was like 2 days only since they removed Ship 37. They could have just waited those 2 days instead of, taking apart
Right.
everything and then redoing it all again.
No,
I do
I'm
hope they
not- I'm
wait
not
those
gonna
2 extra
say-
days.
I do too. I'm not going to say that they're moving too fast, but they're clearly trying to move very fast with getting this flight off the ground. So, I kind of expect them to not. I kind of expect them to not wait those 2 days. But we'll see what happens. Good question. Sort of in a similar vein, ResistoJet is asking, how long did it take them to modify the pad? Presumably it'll take them a similar amount of time to change it back again. Like a week, right? Alex? Like a week
Yeah.
to mod the pad? A week and a half, maybe?
I think it might take about a week. I mean, they did things very quickly. Again, we went through the timeline on Starbase Update, so if you want a more in-depth look at this, there's that. But yeah, it was like within 24, 36 hours, like in a day and a half after removing Ship 37, they had already removed the stand. They had already removed the pipes from that contraption there on the right hand side. So they had removed a lot of things. They had already installed most of the clamps, because the way that stand is attached to the launch mount is the launch mount has these 20 arms that swing out, right? And then on top, you've got the clamps that hold down onto the booster. For this, though, they were removed, and instead what they have is these sort of plates that they bolt on the same bolts where the clamps are attached to the arms. And these plates then get welded to that stand there. In fact, when they removed it, they just needed to because it's already welded to the stand, they don't need to redo the welds or anything like that. They just unbolted it from the arms, and they removed the stand, and then they started putting back the clamps with the thought that, okay, yeah, the next thing that we put in this launch mount is going to be booster 16, right? It's going to be the booster, therefore we need the clamps. Let's put them back together. And they stopped at, I think it was at like 15 out of the 20 clamps. They were almost there with all of the clamps installed.
Right.
When they stopped. And
That's
that
why it was
2
so
days.
noticeable.
Yeah.
Go figure. Well, we'll have to see what happens this time around. Y'all keep your questions coming. We're waiting to see what happens with the road closure. If they send a red team sort of crew out to the pad to poke at things, we're waiting to see what happens with the ship. If they just detank and open the road, or if they detank and then recycle, we'll just keep our eyes on the prize. And in the meantime, answer y'all's questions. Let's see. Innate Ops is asking, how many starships will it take to get to the moon and back? We don't really know yet, do we, Alex?
I mean, to go back from the moon, that's going to be a lot of starships. Even going to the moon, I guess it depends what you mean going to the moon. If you mean just doing a flyby with just one ship, it might be doable.
Yeah, let's
refueling.
just for simplicity presume a Artemis 1 or Artemis 2 style lunar flyby. Just one refilling?
Well, Artemis 1 will be a lot different because it actually entered orbit around the moon. But Artemis 2 is a flyby. Yeah, it will just be one refilling. It's like without any refillings, it's right there in the limit where you might get a high Earth orbit, so to speak, right? But it just cannot escape Earth orbit because it's not that Starship is not capable or anything. It's like it's meant to return, so it's got a lot of, hardware for usability, the flaps, the header tanks, the tiles. So all of that you will need. Of course, if you're flying something like HLS, I guess it depends.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
But then you have the mass of the crew quarters, like the crew cabin and everything. You've got the mass of the landing links. Exactly, life support systems, the cargo, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe that compensates the fact that you don't carry the flaps, you don't carry the TPS, right? The
Right.
tiles and whatnot. So it will probably
So,
still
like-
be about the same mass.
But for a lunar landing, I mean, that's going to require a
lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because not only do you need more energy to not fly by the moon but orbit it, but you need even more energy to then land on the moon, and then you need even more energy to get back off the surface of the moon. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you want to
and
come
I-
back, then you need to refuel again around the moon because it doesn't have enough fuel to then come back from the moon.
Right.
Like if you fully top off a ship in low Earth orbit, it has a little bit of like it's got enough to go to the lunar surface, come back out to lunar orbit, and that's about it. You're essentially fuel low. The gauge it's all the way down.
Right. I mean, if you think about Dragon as a taxi to low Earth orbit, I could definitely see Starship being sort of the moon equivalent of it's useful to get from the surface to moon orbit, and it's useful to get from Earth to the moon for large pieces of hardware. But like a moon ship, an HLS Starship, would probably go to the moon once and then make all of its journeys to and from the surface to lunar orbit, not come all the way back to Earth. That seems like it would be kind of a waste of hardware, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would expect them to send tankers to lunar orbit instead. It will still take many
that makes
launches,
sense.
of course, but you wouldn't need to return the HL. Like it doesn't even have any way to return to Earth, anyways. Like it doesn't have any way to re-enter
Right.
the atmosphere or anything. So why would you return it back to Earth, right? Like,
Right. It doesn't make
but
sense.
but I wanted to check it out and things like that. Well, send another Starship out there with crew, and like, who cares, right? Why would you want to return it back? And I
Right.
know there's a lot of people that are concerned that they don't like the fact that it takes so many launches. But then it's like, well, how else are you gonna be landing dozens of tons in one go on the lunar surface? In theory, very much in theory, Starship should be able to land on the surface of the moon about 50 metric tons, maybe more, with this whole setup of multiple launches and things like that. I did the math at one point. If you wanted to do this in one single launch, sort of SLS style or Saturn V style and things like that, of like
Right.
landing a huge Starship-sized lander with that 50 metric ton cargo and all that, you will need such a huge rocket that even like Sea Dragon and things like that will still be tiny compared to that type of rocket. So yeah, I mean it's the only way to get that big cargo down to the moon.
Absent any kind of that was interesting. Interesting
I
audio.
heard that too.
But yeah, refilling in Earth or lunar orbit, just not needing to take all of your fuel with you into space is a big game changer and a big part of the reason, arguably, why we've been stuck in low Earth orbit for so long. I mean, there's a lot of factors there, but I know Eric Berger loves to point out that former Senator Shelby was like super against propellant depots in low Earth orbit, and that has seriously hampered our ability to do things like this. And only now are we starting to work on things in large commercial scale, things like keeping propellants cold for long periods of time, and things of this nature. Blue's working on it, SpaceX is working on it, Impulse, like a bunch of smart people and smart companies are working on it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I do see people scoff at it's going to take 8 starships or 12 starships. Ooh, venting.
Maybe
And part of it
decrease
is
from the ship.
maybe. Part of it is these are all still prototypes. We don't know. We don't know the numbers, and I bet NASA would really love to know the answer to this question too. Same as all of us.
There's multiple factors that go into that. The first one obviously being the boil off, right? Because it's up there in space, and you don't know, like it's not gonna be until they actually are up there, and they try to keep the tanks from getting too warm
Right.
and things like that, and things boiling off and all that. There's also the fact that geometry is not perfect. Like when you dock those two ships together and you try to do the transfer of propellant from one to the other, the ship quick disconnect, which is where they're going to be doing the transfer of propellant, it's not perfectly at the bottom of the tank, right? So you're always going to have a little bit of propellant always missing. Like it's not going to go through the quick disconnect because
You're gonna have some waste. Unless they
Exactly.
change that on Block 3 somehow, like they turn the aft dome into a weird soda can thing.
Let's see.
You know, like I don't, which we haven't seen any hardware that would seem to indicate that. But yeah, like that, I hadn't
Yeah.
even thought of that, Alex. Like there will, no matter how good they get with managing boil off, and no matter how good they get with transferring the propellants, the tanker will always have some left in the tanks. I mean, A, by necessity because it has to get back, and B, because it's just not going to be 100% efficient. Nothing ever is.
Yeah. And so all of those things go into how many starships will they need to get to the moon and back, or how many will they need to go to Mars as well, because it also is going to need propellant refueling. But as I always say, and as you said as well, it's not the only rocket or architecture looking at that. Blue Origin is also working on orbit
Right.
refueling. They're testing zero boil off technology as well.
Right.
For hydrogen, which is really complicated. It's much colder than methane, right? So
I
it's
swear,
a lot harder to
hydrogen-
keep cold.
Hydrogen is like the most evil element. It's not. It's probably plutonium, but yeah, or uranium. But still, like hydrogen is a beguiling little dude. Like what the heck. Continuing to watch venting from the ship. Do we think this is a depress, Alex?
Yeah, that looked like depress. We were seeing some of those vents on the ship. Usually it's part of the detanking procedure. Once they have essentially drained back most of the propellant, if not all of the propellant, then they start venting those tanks. That we can see more venting.
Right.
You can see the venting because it's there.
Because of the way it is. Yeah. We're channeling EJ.
Exactly.
Michael, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Bideford, thank you for the support. $50. Thank you so much, Bideford. She says, Vulcan is on my cell while NSF is on my computer. Question, do we have any serious worries that something super bad could happen? Thanks, Alex, for your attention to detail. No more kabooms. I mean, worry would not be the word that I would use. But you know, in all things in life, you prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And so, yeah, we make sure we have cameras pointed in the appropriate direction in case anything bad does happen, or in case anything good does happen. Because, you know, we want to see that sweet, sweet static fire footage or spin prime footage or whatever it may be. So, yeah, I'm worried is not the word I would use. But, you know.
Is this too inside baseball if I say that every time they test, we keep at least one camera wide? Like this one, for example. Although this one is always, because this is Skycam,
This one
right?
can't. Yeah. This one
is always wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Nice.
for example, hotel here, right?
Yeah, that's
This
from the
is
Margaritaville on South Padre.
Exactly.
Nice.
North Beach as well. There's always a few cameras that we keep wide just in case, which is why on the Ship 36 static fire and an explosion, I guess, like the pre-static fire explosion, I think it was Kevin that was producing that one. Or maybe it was Carson.
We don't have the.
Whoever it was producing that one, they changed very quickly to a wide view. It was not something that we were like, oh, let's put it wide now. No, it was already wide beforehand, right? It was already prepared just in case. But that's why we had that footage ready at hand. Right?
I think the first thing I did was zoom all the way out, and then the second thing I did was adjust my exposure.
It's okay, man. I mean, that bright flash, I was like, wow, okay, that's a very bright static fire. And then I heard oh my God, from Max.
Right.
I was like, well, that's not great. Speaking of things that are not great, what happened with the cars here?
Was that a car leaving the roadblock? Sometimes we see them come and go, but there were more law enforcement vehicles there a moment ago. Now there are less. There are 2 law enforcement officers that both appear to be on some sort of communication device while standing at the driver's side of their doors. One just got in his car and appears to be beginning to drive away. Yeah, not great. Not great, Bob. I feel like that episode of The Simpsons where they were gonna go to a soccer game and the announcer's like, the center holds it, holds it, holds it.
It holds it.
Holds it.
Holds it.
Holds it.
Holds it. Yeah.
Good stuff. We'll keep doing your questions while we wait to see what happens here at the roadblock. It's so hard to answer everybody's question. I know I saw some people in chat saying, oh, they don't answer our questions on the Flame Trench, it's only these streams. We try every stream to answer as many questions as we can. Here's a good one from KD Music. It's asking, was it ever determined why... Oh, what's happening here, maybe?
What are you doing, Sheriff?
Holds it. Do we know why the COPV failed on 36, Alex?
We have no idea. The only thing that we know from SpaceX and Elon was that apparently it failed under its proof pressure. Essentially,
Right.
you know, they are essentially built to endure X amount of pressure, and it seemed like, at least from what the data that they had right after it happened, that it was because of that. But there are multiple ways. Like, it could also be that there was a bad sensor, and it was telling them, oh no, that pressure that you have there is lower than the proof pressure, and it was actually above it, right? Things like that can just completely wreck a ship like ship 36, and then you have to stand down for multiple months. So yeah, you never know.
Indeed. You never know. Hopefully, when we get closer to Flight 10, SpaceX will put out a presser, a pre-flight kind of thing, saying what they aim to achieve on the flight and the results of the investigation and the whole 9 yards. But until all that happens, presumably SpaceX knows, we do not.
And also, I hope to also know what happened on Flight 9, because remember, there's also Flight 9.
Also yes. Also yes.
Why did the ship start leaking, right? And things like
Right.
that.
Let's see.
It
Astro
had a mini
Josh,
Chris Berging inside, leaking stuff.
Astro Josh 86 is asking, do we know why Vulcan got pushed towards the end of the window?
I don't think ULA specifically mentioned. They only said that they needed more time. They have these built-in holds, right? Where they sort of stop for a little bit and they work out things and all that. They go through all of the checklists. The one where they held a little bit for longer was the one that they do before loading propellant on Vulcan. And they just kept it going, that hold for a little bit longer. I believe that C0 is nearly at the end of the window. It's like 3 minutes before the end of the window. By the way, there's also an Ariane 6, I think at 37 minutes past the hour, so we are very close to that one too.
Nice. Cheese gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thanks so much, Cheese. What kind of cheese, though? And Lindsay Ray, thank you as well. Wait, Lindsay?
Is that
becoming a Red Team member. That's Lindsay. Nice. Ooh, you can see the Vulcan stream going strong there.
With the clock for Ariane 6 as well.
So it's 18 minutes to Ariane 6 and 36 minutes to Vulcan. Nice.
Yeah, Ariane 6 should be at 7:37 and 50 seconds p.m.
That's
Central.
what, from French Guiana?
From French Guiana. The funny thing is the paths of both rockets cross. Oh, that's WD-40, I think. I'm not on that stream. There we go. See, I identified correctly that one because I can recognize where he usually stands. But there we go.
Yeah, so we have that low latency feed of the Ariane 6 from Arianespace. Thank you to them for that. And it looked like we had Dr. WD-40 way downrange as well for the Vulcan launch. Hopefully we'll get some cool lighting for that. So if you have multiple screens, you should probably have up multiple streams.
It's funny. If Starship were launching as well, that will also cross the trajectories of these two rockets, because Ariane 6 is going like north out of French Guiana, and so it's sort of southeast of the Cape, And then you've got the Cape. Vulcan is launching east. So the two are crossing together. And then if you
No
had
kidding.
Starship as well into all that, then you will also have that going east and crossing Ariane 6 as well. But obviously we're not seeing any launches of Starships for a little bit at the very least.
Right.
Oh,
Good
and somebody
deal.
mentioned after Ariane 6 and Vulcan, there's, what's coming up after that?
What?
Long March 5.
Long March 5, baby. Heck yeah. You love to see it though. Like I much rather live in a point in time where there's a lot of launches than not a lot of launches, because I think many of us have existed through those times where there's not a lot going on in spaceflight. And boy howdy, is that lame. Like I'd way rather have way too many launches than not enough. Stephanie Pribble saying, "Hi Jack, you met my son today at Boca Chica." I did. Hi. Always come up and say hey if you see any field members out working. We may be busy, we may be distracted, but we'll always say hi, and if we have any stickers or stuff on us we can give you, we'll give them to you. Please, I cannot express enough how meaningful it is to have people come up to you while you're hot and sweaty and tired and be like, "Oh, I love the stream." It's like, okay, yeah, I might as well have just had a cup of coffee. So thank you. Looks like we're talking about the adjust file. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate that name. Series of weather balloons launched, and then they give the rocket some software to adjust for the weather. Neat. More questions. Continuing to keep our eyes on the prize, which again is Starship 37 on pad 1. Meanwhile, Vulcan and Ariane 6 are gearing up to launch. It doesn't look like these guys are, we're down to one. It's no longer a whole line of law enforcement, it's just one.
They're just enjoying the sunset.
It's just a little sunset. It's still good. It's still good. Let's see. David Downing is asking, do you think Elon will ever fly on one of his own rockets? Yes, I do. It might take a while, but I think it'll happen eventually. Alex, what do you think? Also,
Well,
upper-level winds have been verified acceptable for launch at 8:56 p.m. Eastern Time.
Nice. He mentioned at one point that he wants to be also going on a Starship to Mars. He just doesn't want to land to die on the landing. He said something along those lines. I have no idea, to be honest. Who knows what might be going on by the time that happens? When
I increasingly
Starships
feel like
regularly go to
the
Mars.
timeline that we exist in is unhinged, so who
Yeah,
knows what'll happen? Like, never say never.
it's a divergent timeline, if you will.
Yeah. Alex, we have a question here from Game Time UK asking, do we think there'll be a wet dress for Flight 10, or will they just stack and send it?
I wouldn't be surprised if the latter happens, where they just, stack and send it. The main thinking is that, just like today, if something starts not going well with propellant load, they can just stop and try again another day. They did that with Flight 8, remember? Where
Yep.
they started propellant load and then they were like, whoop, nope. Let's
Psych.
try again 3 days from now. Yeah, psych.
Psych,
Literally
psych, super psych.
what Dan said.
Pretty good. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. I kind of expect it, but it would, put it this way, it would seem prudent to me to do a wet dress with the full stack before Flight 10, given all of the chicanery that's happened with Pad 1 and the modifications and demodifications and remodifications and then eventual final demodifications, hopefully. So, Ariane 6 is all green!
Can you read all that in French?
Yeah. So, hang on, I think my internet's dropping out. Oh yeah, it disappeared. Dang. Oh yeah. Oh dang. I have impeccable French. A lot of people don't know that about me.
Dang it.
Holy moly, Russell Snodgrass with $100 super chat. Russell, thanks so
Wow.
much, man. It's far from the first time you've ever done that. That's outstanding. They say, why is it that more effort isn't being made to use nuclear propulsion for the Earth-Moon ferry flights, or at least explore dilithium crystals? I know the dilithium crystals part is a joke, but nuclear propulsion really is something that needs to be investigated more. I think a lot of people agree on that. I think perhaps, Alex, I'll let you chime in, but I think perhaps part of the reason is just the nuclear boogeyman. Like, people are afraid of nuclear power, and people don't understand rocketry, and then you tell them you're putting a nuclear thing on a rocket, and, you know, they start thinking of bad things. It's unfortunate, but it's true. I mean, just look at, we just did a Shuttle Sunday where we talked about, oh god, was it STS 33, 34? The most recent Shuttle Sunday was the launch of Galileo as the payload, and there were protests. There were protests
Isn't it
because there
Magellan?
was it Magellan?
I think it was Magellan, the one that you did. I think Galileo is still out for a few more shuttle
Okay.
flights.
I think you're right. But yes, there was an RTG on the payload, and there were protests. Sorry, my brain is not what it used to be. But point being,
Well,
have you ever
Galileo
seen the
also
movie-
had those, so yeah, and there
Right.
were also protests, and the Cassini Huygens as well had that,
Yep.
and they
like if you look at the movie Contact,
yeah,
if you've seen that movie, there are protests in that movie against the space thing that they're building. And
that was the same year as the Cassini.
yeah, I
So,
don't think that scene exists in that movie without, you know, it being a reflection of real life.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean that would be my answer, Russell. Thank you so much. It's so freaking generous of you.
I can
have anything
chime
to
in with
add? Yeah.
with
Please.
yeah. So there's also, of course, that part of the nuclear stuff that you're carrying, you know, and it sort of goes into woo-woo. Like RTGs, for example, are super safe in the sense that it's not the same as actually putting a nuclear reactor in space.
Right.
It's just the decay of nuclear material, right? Of plutonium, of one of the isotopes of plutonium, and then it radiates heat, and that's what you get as energy. Whereas a nuclear reactor of fission, you actually have fission occurring there with uranium and all that, or plutonium, or depends. You know, there's multiple types of reactors and whatnot. I'm gonna go into all that. And the thing is, carrying that material itself can be hazardous, right? And activating the nuclear reactor. I'm seeing that police is going down the road. It's going down the road as I'm explaining this. Okay, well, cool.
Yeah, it looked like there was a firm handshake there too between law enforcement and security. So a car headed to the pad, at least one, maybe another one here shortly.
Maybe
right
we'll go as
now.
well.
Looks like there's some other trucks headed down Highway 4 as well. Will they turn left onto LBJ, or will they go straight through the block and head to the pad?
Okay, in very short terms, nuclear engines are very heavy. They are very efficient and all that, but you're carrying a big engine.
Right.
Yeah,
There's
you
that
can
car
imagine
headed to
what
the
is
pad.
in between big and engine.
Yeah. Plus,
But yeah.
also, I mean, we could talk about this for an entire flame trench. There's also the fact that like somebody has to develop it, and a company needs to have a return on investment, and make shareholders happy, and blah blah blah, all that capitalism stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you really going to want to put in however many years or decades or what have you to develop a brand new untested engine when there's no business case for it yet or whatever? Like, it's unfortunate, but it's true. That's how things work sometimes, and that's exactly what NASA is good at a lot of the time, and that's why a lot of people, including Jared, I think, Jared Isaacman, has called for renewed research into the area, because yes, it would be a good thing. Speaking of good things, also Russell Snodgrass gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Thank you, dude. That's outstanding. You're a legend. Be sure in chat, thank Russell if you got a membership from him, because he is a legend. Wet Toaster, that sounds dangerous, with a super chat saying, what's the worst case scenario if a fully fueled stack couldn't detank on the pad? Boil off or boom? I mean, Worst case scenario is they crack all the valves open to let everything boil off, and then something ignites, which would then be boom. Presumably.
They have dump valves on the bottom of the liquid oxygen tank, which helps a lot. For the methane, I have no idea. They will probably just let it boil off. Although that will be a lot of boiling off.
Yeah, it would be a many hour process, maybe even many day, to make sure everything is safe.
Yeah, you remember when they did those tests of test tanks and things like that, where they did bursts of tests, things like that. They carried only liquid nitrogen inside, and it was maybe like 100 tons, 200 tons of liquid nitrogen. I remember one of them where it was a burst test, and it happened around the afternoon. The next morning, it was still boiling off, that liquid nitrogen, because like it burst from the top, right? The top fell off, or something like that. I don't know. The front fell off, and there was still a big pool because the bottom was still there, and so there was a big pool of liquid nitrogen still boiling off all night and into the morning, until it eventually all boiled off, and it took like again almost 24 hours, and that was maybe 100 tons, 200 tons. Starship carries 5,000 tons of propellant.
It's so absurd.
Let all of that boil off. It will take quite a while.
Yep. Oh man, those early test tank days. We just saw SN2, which is a weirdo test tank, moved around the Sanchez lot for the first time in years. If you didn't catch that in our recent Starbase summary or Starbase update. I love those little guys. They're so weird. I mean, Booster 18.1, that test tank that's at Massey's right now, is pretty cool too, but it just doesn't have that same charm when they were like still figuring out how to weld stainless steel. Oh, you can see a car headed there into the main gate, the D2 gate there at the launch site. You can see the mega bunker they're building on the right-hand side, part of the tank farm for the
mega
Pad
bunker.
2. Mega bunker. Choo, 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 choo. No, that's too close to Ninja Decimator. We got to figure something else out. It's a work in progress. Yeah, it looks like security
We're under
is
5
taking
minutes,
up
by the way.
station. For Ariane?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. I'm
Should
getting
be
excited.
4.5 now. Third launch of Ariane 6. It's funny because the Vulcan launch is also the third launch of Vulcan.
3 and 3. Something about saying decollage at liftoff. Like, it just has I like it. It just sounds cooler than liftoff. Like, maybe I'm just used to liftoff and I like decollage because it's different. All right. Gamer Tom, thank you so much for the support twice. And Tony Lee becoming a PadRat member as well. Well, with some cars headed back to the pad, there you go. I think we will wrap this stream up. We'll let you all go watch the Vulcan and Ariane 6 launch. Crispy was on earlier. Thanks to Crispy for that. Alex, thanks for being on as well.
It's always a pleasure, and yeah, it looks like road is open.
Looks like it. I'm Jack Beyer. We had Carson operating the stream. And yeah, let's all go watch Ariane 6 and Vulcan. And if anything spools up back here in Starbase, we'll go live again with commentary. But if you want to keep track, you can always watch Starbase live. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
And here we go.
We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantic.
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage!
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting the flare, correct?